there may in fact be a ghost in the machine.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 224 of Born to be Wild, a wild and wild adjacent exclusive podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the wild formats of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, Electric Sheep City. It's great to be back this beautiful Friday evening here in icy cold Colorado. I am joined by a fellow host, Schmoopydady.
I know we're supposed to have these like formal greetings, but I just want to point out for the people who can't see the picture at home, this show has started with two grown men enjoying a graph and dancing to music. So let's just start with that. Happy to contribute to the pod.
For those of you joining us for the first time, we don't usually have this funky graph on the screen, but we're going to talk about that very shortly.
We're going to talk about the graph. Oh, yeah.
We actually are. Welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. The video version of this podcast is posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug, Schmoopydady. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, look at this graph!
Yeah, so right before we started, we do our little like claps so that we can, sync up the audio and video. That's how I at least do the video recording. And after I clapped, I was like, well, that's an interesting waveform. And Schmoopy's like, yeah, okay. Not knowing what I'm talking about. I'm like, no, I'm actually going to like screenshot this because this is like weird. So I did, and I dropped it in our little chat, and y'all, so waveforms, there's this horizontal axis, there's the x-axis, and all the waveforms go like up vertically, from it, both in the positive and negative on the y-axis itself. Well, what happened here somehow is that it's Schmoopy kind of described it as whenever he's like flicking a rope. And it kind of makes a lot of sense because it deviated from that x-axis and like went up and then down like you're graphing something on a calculator, and then it perfectly normal afterwards.
It didn't, it just sort of ignored physics for a second, and it's an oddity, and it's probably just like, a bug or a funny input, but Sheep and I have been geeking out about it and making up lore for it, and it disturbs us. It disturbs us. We are before the black monolith, and we are monkeys beating stones and bones and throwing things at it and generally worshiping it.
So, whenever I was a child, I met Chuck Yeager. He was the first man to ever break the speed of sound. But my friends, this evening, I'm the first sheep to break sound itself. That's
Nutty.
now established
Nutty.
lore.
Yep.
Yep. So we didn't know we were having 2 lore episodes in a row, but
Yep.
here we go.
Yep.
It is currently the 8th of November. And so, I typically every November just like don't shave because like I give it as a reason to be lazy about it.
Sure.
Yeah. So I have a light dusting of hair upon my face currently for video enjoyers. This is currently 8 days. Yep. Long week. Some good, some bad, some like moving forward in things. So on Monday I had a new boss. So my boss's boss started, oversees our whole like office, right? So she started on Monday, and it's like I'm training her on all of the like our organization specific things. And our organization is, like most of them, weird in a whole lot of reasons. So
Natural human-born idiosyncrasies and like, well, this was just easier because this is how Pam did things. But Pam's been retired for 15 years and you're still doing it. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
schools
exactly.
are like that too, by the way. Schools are absolutely like that too.
It's like, just like every other company or organization, we also are unique. And here's how. So that's been, again, a moving forward progression thing, but a lot of work. So then Tuesday had the high of a new expansion and the low of an election. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, I got to hang out with work folks. And of course, still in that there school, but grad school, the thing that I've talked about most episodes.
The thing
around
that
this time
that consumes your time when you're supposed to have free time, but instead have to like return to schooling.
Yeah. I did get a 100% on my latest assignment, however, so that was
those.
exciting. I was like 22% of my grade. Yeah. So note that this part is a little light in the Hearthstone. That's because I want to talk about the decks that we're playing when we're talking about the Great Dark Beyond going live, because there's a whole like blog post about it and it's stuff we've already covered. So that's where I want to talk about the new decks we've been playing, because I've been playing a lot of different decks and they've been really fun. But until we get to that juncture, Hairless Schmoopydady, what's been going down in Daddy Town?
Nothing much. My hair fell out. No, it didn't. So Schmoopy Mommy is attempting to climb, and it's the first of the month, and I'd already shaved my face, I think last time, so I already looked pretty different. And again, my students were like, "Wow, you are way younger looking than we thought you were." Or like, I have one coworker, my boss, who's just like, "Yeah, Schmoopy over there, he's 14 years younger than me." And the kids are like, "Nah, no, he's not. No, he's not." Then I shave, and they're like, "Oh my God." Right. So,
He really is.
he really is. And so, my wife says, "Hey, ready to get a haircut?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And my wife does my haircut, and she usually does a very nice job, and I have no complaints, right? And it's been a minute since I got my last haircut anyway, because my last haircut was actually not done by Schmoopy Mommy. Well, it sort of was. It was touched up by Schmoopy Mommy. My last time that I shaved the hair on my head was for a charity stream through THL back in late June, I believe. They were doing we were raising money for the Trevor Project, and I was expecting X amount of money. I forget how much it was. I want to say I was expecting $100, $150, and we raised like $300. So it's like, okay, well, I was going to just shave my beard as a loading bar, but that's not an option anymore. What else is there left to shave that Twitch won't ban me for, right? And so Tom Carter's like, shave an eyebrow. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. That's very good input, Tom. Thank you. So somebody else goes, shave your head. So I shaved my head whilst playing standard Hearthstone. It was not ideal, but we got there. At least my head got less hair in it. Burnt was in chat. Burnt's like, what are you going to catch the hair with? And I'm like, well, Burnt, I got my hair bucket. He's like, what's that? He's like, what's a hair bucket? And I was like, well, I got this bucket. My hair's falling in. It's my hair bucket. And so that was the last time that I had cut my hair. And so let's fast forward 4 months. Shumi Mommy's like, okay, I'll cut your hair, but I really want to hit legend. I'm like, all right, what's the worst that could happen? And so she's cutting my hair, and she goes really close on one side, about half an inch above my ear, which wouldn't be a problem, except it was shaved in a freaking square so that it was like straight back, like it's a racing stripe, and then straight down, making a corner of hairless space about midway to the back of my head. And I'm like, honey, what is this? And she starts laughing. Right? This is the funniest thing she's ever seen in her life. I'm like, honey, what is, no, I'm like, honey, this, she's like, you don't like it? I'm like, no, I don't like it. We can't do this. It can't be like this. Honey, I teach Dominican kids. Like, they're going to see this. I've had 2 kids already come up to me this year and be like, yo, Mr. Schmoop, I'm a barber. If you ever want the chin strap beard, I'll get you the chin strap beard. I make it clean. I'm like, listen, Jorge, I appreciate the thought. I don't do the chin strap beard, but like that's cool. But like this is like, we'll just continue the theme of just like my kids are very much like grooming obsessed, and like they follow like, you know, the Spanish trends, and so they're
styles,
like,
and
they're like, Mr. Schmoop, you should get cornrows. I'm like, I'm not gonna get cornrows, guys. Thank you for your input. Shouldn't. That's not. I know I should, but I'm not going to probably.
You should definitely not.
You know what? Now that just makes me want to even more now. Anyway, so
all according to my dastardly scheme.
So I come in, and so I reach this point where and she's just like, well, I could try to fade it, and we try to fade it, and it doesn't look any better. And I'm like, honey, she's like, well, I'm not shaving your head. I'm like, honey, I hate to tell you, but there's only one way to fix this. We got to burn her down to the studs. And so that's what we did. We burned it down to the studs. And it worked out okay. All right. She's like, you know, at least you have a nice looking head. I'm like, thank you. Nice. I go on stream, I show up, they're like, wow, Schmoopy, you look different without hair. I'm like, yeah, it's my Keith Numbers cosplay. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. And that goes over very well. But like, I go to do my job and my students are like, whoa.
Real quick.
Yes.
May I rewind momentarily? Because we are missing one very key piece of the story.
Yes.
Did Schmoopy Mommy hit legend?
Not that day, no.
Okay. Carry on.
I think she lost the pirate DH mirror, and then she lost my haircut. So,
I mean, understandable, cause and effect.
Understandable, right. Honestly, I understand. I am not.
It's a very key element of the story. I just didn't realize how yet.
And so I'm going to do my job, and like, you know, I have some kids that are like, whoa, Mr. Schmoop, are you going through something? Because they've seen me shave in the last week, and they've seen me shave my head. I'm like, no, I have a perfectly reasonable explanation for this. It'll make sense once you hear the story. I have other students who come in, they're like, yo, we got a sub? And it's like, I'm sorry, you haven't been here. You haven't been here for a week. The same sarcastic jackass that's usually up there. It's just he looks a little different. He's a little bit more aerodynamic this time. You know, and I've said that like my brain would break land speed records. It's so smooth if you took it out and put it on a hill, and I've just made the outside look like the inside now. But no, I explained the situation.
It was a bold aesthetic choice to marry the two. I approve.
I explain the situation. They're all like, nope, that's what you have to do. Sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes you got to go down to the studs. We get it. We got you, Mr. Bay. And so we're all good. We're all on the same page, right? But But the best reaction of all was probably Schmoopy's. The day after in the morning, because he gets up with me. I don't want him to, but like he does. Children do those sort of things. And so it's 5:45 in the morning, and he walks down the hallway, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I turn around when he comes down the hallway, he looks in the bathroom, he goes, "Whoa!" And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Where'd your hair go?" I was like, Mom made a mistake cutting it. We had to cut it all off. He goes, "Whoa, Dad, you look weird." I'm like, "You want to feel my head?" He's like, "Yeah." And so he's like, I bent down. I let him start rubbing my head. He's just like, "Oh, you're so soft now." And so that's yeah. All of that, by the way, is way more interesting than the wild meta post the expansion. Holy cow. I know I said I was afraid of certain decks being too good and rendering wild like a little bit like, I don't know if we're going to do this if we're taking 100 to the face every turn. I'm glad I went out on that limb because I had a great opening day. Like we were, I played Holy Wrath Paladin. I played Quasar Rogue before people realized Quasar Rogue was terrible. Both those YouTube videos went great. The next day, I show up. I'm like, all right, how am I going to grief Holy Wrath Paladin? Let's try Bulwark and Infinite Velen, the prophesized bringer of other Draenei to someplace safe. I don't know what the hell his card title is. It doesn't really matter. But in any case, he copies Star Night Chain, ganks Battlecry, so he goes Infinite there. So I did that in Bulwark, and like good luck, Holy Wrath, on that bad boy. And Secret Mage. I made a Secret Mage video again. I enjoyed Secret Mage for once. That was amazing. Got a Neon tweet. Went 5-0 to rank 80. High rolled out of my mind.
Someone in the SSJ5 Goku in the Coin Concede Discord like tagged me to be like, because other folks were talking about Secret Mage, and he was like, "Oh, Sheep's co-host, top 100 legend was Secret Mage, in fact."
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny that it's like top of legend. I think it's more of just like, and that's the weird thing when you get a big MMR, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like I have fought and clawed and died to get to the top of the wild legend ladder. At a certain point, you accrue enough MMR. It's almost like there's like a little cushion for you, where like you win a little bit, you lose a little bit. You're basically winning and losing people at roughly your same level. So there's not a lot of lateral move. There's not a lot of vertical movement. Right. It's if you win a lot and lose a lot, you start seeing that drop.
Right.
And so like if you go on a win streak and you're at like mid legend, you're gonna find yourself up around like, I'd say like if let's say I'm at like 1400, right? Rank 1400. I win 7 games in a row. That's going to get me to like 700. I go like 50-50 the next set of games. I'm still at 700. I've really not really moved from my spot. And so it's funny how, we can say like high legend or top of legend. At a certain point, it's weird and kind of funny where it almost feels like there's this force or like suction or cushion, however you want to personify it, that actually keeps you towards that end of the bell graph, because like the bell curve, because that's just how it ends up. I'm sure some mathematician can probably explain it better than I can, but like I wouldn't necessarily value like top of legend so much. I high rolled 3 Holy Wrath Paladins and 2 Hostage Mages by griefing them with a hard counter. It was very funny, and I'm happy it happened on stream in quick succession so I could make a video of it. But it's just something to keep in mind with some of these things. I don't know. Yeah.
It still makes a good, headline, post, whatever, like... And it's accurate, even if it is a little baity. It's still accurate.
I didn't see any aggro decks at that MMR at that time. Everybody was trying Copy stuff, and not only were people trying, they were either trying Copy stuff or they were trying to beat you with Holy Wrath. So it's like, well, if 60% of my meta is Holy Wrath, then this is a great deck. So like it's like a little bit like it's a little disingenuous to like you have to kind of like figure out what the conditions are. That's like, okay, this is a decent deck and this is worth paying attention to. You do have to keep a little critical lens on that.
Yeah. Well, we may have dipped our toe in, but...
Yeah, we have to...
Welcome to the news. The is so good.
So, The Great Dark Beyond dropped or launched, because spaceships, on November 5th, Tuesday. So, what have we been playing? We've heard a little bit of what Schmoopy's been playing. So, I've been playing a little bit of Highlander Holy Wrath Paladin, which I call HL Wrath Paladin. Right now I can't play that, but we'll get
Unlucky.
there. We'll get there. Well, it's a thing that happened literally today. Very exciting. I've also been playing Secret Mage. Secret Mage has been fun. Good. Like, I've
Don't cue
sleeved-
aggro.
No. Yeah.
But you
I
beat
made
a
that
lot of other
mistake
stuff.
once. Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I sleeved up a Libram Paladin, but I haven't played it yet. And it totally still needs some refinement. But like a lot of the new ones have a decent amount of draw. So it's like a lot of the shell outside of the Librams that we used to have to run, I don't feel compelled to run anymore. And it makes it tighter.
That's going to be a good playable deck. The card draw that I got from this expansion and the discounts, particularly for me from the weapon, that makes it real. Because the 4 mana, as we saw when we got tuned up by Martian, that 4 mana Libram is for real.
Yeah.
Adding back into your hand and just like again, I keep going back to Jiraxis. There's a lot of things in this expansion that remind me of Jiraxis. It's like Jiraxis is 2 mana, make a 6/6 every turn, and that's just like this like mill that's like grinding your opponent down. You have a hero power that makes a 1/1, and so it's like a 1 mana 7/7 every turn. Good luck. Like holy cow, it grinds you down. It's for real if you're in one of those value battles.
And then, of course, you can always run something like Linessa so that, something actually sticks. Then you drop Linessa. Then you drop all of these discounted buffers and then just go face, win the game. So, like I said, I haven't actually played it yet, and I still need to refine it a little bit before I do so. But, I searched Libram and I put the Libram cards in. So, like, I've got a really solid start. I've got, EQ conk because
maybe
for fun.
Maybe some Smite Shanty. Might do some Smite Shanty action.
That could be fun.
That could be an option.
Yeah. I hadn't yet dropped in the Linessa that I was just talking about. Like that was one of those that it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I hadn't pushed the button yet.
Yep.
So, having a lot of fun in our format of Wild. I've also been having a lot of fun in Standard. So Discover Hunter is a lot of fun. Saw Maxi playing it the other day. This may have been like on release, I think. And I think I've just been playing his like day one deck ever since.
The Legendary's really freaking good.
Yeah.
I've
Really,
rolled
really
it in
good.
Arena a couple times, and it's like, whoa, this is good. Especially when you've got like, and Kill Jaden's really good in Standard right now too, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm seeing like when
Just
people are
lost
getting
to a Kill Jaden Druid.
I'm I'm watching when people are talking about like, oh yeah, and then I got KJ'd, and I'm like, whoa, it's got its own term now. Okay, all right. It's a cool thing we can do in Wild. Today, I saw a Secret Mage list this morning. People were running Secret Mage with Alunith and Kill Jaden. So you throw on Alunith, and then you're just like turbo pulling these gigantic beefy demons and dropping them down as an end game. And
That's so cool.
I think I want to just like, can we just take those 2 cards and chuck it in Reno Mage and like the new meta that might be a lot slower for various reasons we'll cover? I would love to see that. That'd be really neat. It turns off your old Highlander cards because it's an infinite portal with infinite demons with infinite duplicates. So rip bozo. But that aside, I think it'd just be cool to just keep pulling out like bigger and larger men and demon creature things with Alunith, and I get to play my golden Alunith, my golden Kill Jaden. That sounds awesome.
And, sometimes it's fun to do the funny. Let's be completely real. And that's a funny that has a really good payoff. So it's like the funny is also good. So like, yeah, let's do it. I want to do that.
Yeah, sneaky. Like, you're going to have to like get me from hand or deal with my board forever. That's a real strategy. And like, yeah, sometimes it's wild. Sometimes they can get you from hand. But sometimes you grind them into paste. And I love paste. So
yummy, yummy.
It's tasty.
Well, of course, the elephant in the room in regards to the Great Dark Beyond is Holy Wrath Paladin. It has been, since release, the best deck in the game. It runs one new card, I think. Does it run a second new card, or is it just the Ceaseless Expanse?
What's different about Holy Wrath this time around compared to when it was Legend Viable is we can run rogue cards now. So we have coin generators, we have Seashill. Seashill is like I was going to say a third and fourth copy of Holy Cowboy, which if you remember was a way to make Holy Wrath cheaper in the previous and when it was previously decent. But now the problem with why Holy Wrath died was dealing 25 was not good enough, especially with Renathal running around everywhere. Right. Prismatic Beam didn't go face anymore. Like, it was just tougher to get the chip damage in. There's no reason for Holy Wrath to be around except as like a fringe meme deck. And this time around, dealing 100, well, who cares about chip damage? We just get you. And so the natural progression is like, well, yes, is Ceaseless Expanse the reason that Holy Wrath can find lethal as early as I was pulling off turn 4s pretty regularly? Yes. But there is some extra infrastructure that became relevant post the Ceaseless Expanse that I think makes it more than just one new card, even though they only printed one new card. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. But yeah, basically. TLDR, yes.
Yeah, and again, just saying one new card for a whole host of reasons, you know. It's these accumulation of things. If 25 was enough already, then it would have just already been the case. Like, we wouldn't have had to wait for the Ceaseless Expanse to have entered this point.
The rogue cards are great.
Yeah. Great
addition.
addition.
Rogue cards from Perils in Paradise might honestly be a reliable draw engine that Paladin is going to lean on for years, because it's probably better than what Paladin usually gets. It's usually weird stuff like Christology and Vindicator and Banana Man and like a bunch of unsightly things that you're just like, all right, I need like certain things, conditions to be met, and the rogue stuff is just like, draw Lamau, and it's like, yeah, all right, great.
That is what rogue does, right? Rogue things. Draw lots of cards, play lots of cards. Hooray! Before we move on to the other news, is there anything else in the Intel Friday kind of meta that you'd like to kind of touch on? Holy Wrath and Holy Wrath counters, be they Bulwark, Warrior, Secret Mage, etc. Aggro to beat them down.
Yeah, I mean, I it was just hyper polarized. Nothing like I don't even know if Holy Wrath was necessarily the best deck in the format so much as it was serving as Kingmaker. Like, something had to either beat or compete with Holy Wrath in order to exist in the meta. And the funniest part would be like, I played a spell damage druid day one. And their turn one was like a location. Turn two was their turn two was a they gained mana. Turn 3 was like they're using the location, they're searching for cards. Turn 4 was putting on guff. Turn 5 they died because I hit them in the face with 100. Like, it's just anything that was slow and sort of control-y last meta did not have any space this meta unless you were teching yourselves to the gill. Kobold Monk had a positive win rate on HS Replay and beyond. It actually had decent stats, which lets you know how cursed the meta was. Kobold Monk is a 4-mana 3/6 that says your hero has elusive. It was bananas in this meta because you couldn't stick your Holy Wrath at it. And so like Holy Wrath mirrors became cat and mouses of like, well, I'm going to use my holy drink on my face, and now my face has a bubble, and I'm going to make a token so I can pop your bubble. Ah, well, I play Starlight Groove, and so now every time I play a holy spell, I have a bubble, and I have to make a token to pop your bubble. Ah, well, you see, I play a taunt, and now you can't pop my bubble. Oh no, you have a taunt. I can't pop your bubble. I have to use a spell to remove your bubble. And so like it was these like little like taunts. I played a Holy Wrath mirror today that I had a turn 4 lethal if my opponent did not bubble their face. Mm-hmm. And then they stalled out until turn 7, and I didn't have a bubble, and they order Holy Wrath me for 100. So like it's just like really cursed, really kind of intricate, but cursed, bizarre gameplay that we love for Wild, I guess, was going on, and this was stifling a lot of creativity in new cards. Like, who's going to play a spaceship and just dummy 100 on turn 4 every other game? So now that it's been banned, we'll see what happens. But I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. But like, you know,
and
I'm
who's
so
going to
excited.
play a spaceship
It's
anyway?
a big night. Yeah, no, I mean, well, I saw TCT Phantom get up to rank 333 with Pirate DH Spaceship infused, because Pirate DH has only 22
Fair.
cards anyway, so why not fill the rest with spaceship crap? And so there might be a spaceship for you, sheep, if we get there.
Excellent. Well, otherwise, in the world of Hearthstone and Hearthstone adjacent, I guess technically parent intellectual property, the Warcraft 30 Anniversary Direct. So there's going to be some like direct thing for the Warcraft 30th anniversary. I don't and haven't really played Warcraft, so I haven't really engaged too much on that front, but there are other Blizzard property rewards like Warcraft Rumble that our buddy Hydra plays. And of course, Hearthstone, hence why we're mentioning it here. There's 1 Perils in Paradise pack and a 1 Great Dark Beyond pack. In order to earn these rewards, you will need to watch on TikTok for at least 3 minutes, or on Twitch or YouTube for at least 20 minutes. I did not know that Hearthstone had a TikTok until
I didn't know Hearthstone had a TikTok.
Thing. I say that. I think Hearthstone actually follows me on TikTok, and I've never posted a single thing on it. Now that I remember, back in the day, whenever they rolled it out, I felt so cool. You know, like one of those kids who actually uses the platform or something.
You ghosted Hearthstone. Nice.
Yeah, right?
Gaslighting and gatekeeping. We take those.
So for more details on how to tell if you are earning drops, and of course how to link your accounts and all that good stuff, check out the blog post, because it's, you know, technical, and I'm not going to walk you through how to do that here.
Can you imagine if we did? Can we just make a discussion topic? We'll just have like...
Okay, so first you go to battle.net.
Sheep do tech support. Because like I imagine there's a fair number of boomers in our audience. So like they're gonna need help with this sort of thing. Like we would just be catering to our people. I
mean, in that case, fine. So if you are in fact, as Schmoopy so eloquently put, a boomer, we're going to link your battle.net and your YouTube account. So first, log into your YouTube account, go to your YouTube account sharing page, click connect next to battle.net, and follow the instructions. But you know, if you're a big Born to Be Wild fan and you want to watch the podcast live next week, or watch Schmoopy throughout the week, you'll link your Twitch account. So you sign into your battle.net account at https://account.battle.net/connections and click the connect link for Twitch. Then follow the instructions to sign in and link your Twitch account to battle.net. .net. Drop the mic.
Turn it off and on again.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
So participating regions include North America, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Japan, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Get 2 free packs. I mean, I may like link TikTok to knock it out in 6 minutes, but also like if I'm going to be watching Schmoopy or Bored to Be Wild, then I'll knock it out anyway. So never mind. That'll be even easier.
2 packs is pretty good. Did they throw around a lot of free stuff? Like 2 packs is good.
Yeah. The free stuff, I take those. Well, speaking of free, the wild format of Hearthstone has been freed from the Ceaseless Expanse. So they are ceasing, the social media post says, "We are ceasing the Ceaseless Expanse in wild mode. The card will still be usable in other formats. And if you log into the client now, you will see, and pull up the wild mode of Hearthstone, you will see ban notice with the picture of the Ceaseless Expanse. This card is now banned in 1 or more formats. It's one. It's wild.
It's one.
That's
it's
what
one.
it is.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just, they how a lot of big companies work. It's an international company. They're rolling these things out to everyone everywhere. They dropped this less than a week. They dropped this on Friday. There was no localization, I can only imagine, going into any of this. There was no download patch necessary, any of that. Hence, it's saying this card, with a picture of the card, which has already been localized,
very small,
is now banned in 1 or more and doesn't specify which format. So, I mean, we didn't have to have a patch.
Nope.
We got it in less than a week.
Yep.
We got to play with the fun stuff in the short term, like while it was broken, but it wasn't broken for so long that it got like unbearable. Too unbearable. I mean, I kind of like playing with Broken Wild for less than a week and then going back to business as usual. Like, is it just me, or was that just like kind of really cool?
If that gets established as like a common practice, which is sort of, I think there's a lot of people that would agree that that's the way that it sort of should go. But it's just sort of understood in the community that like, this isn't permanent. You don't have to deal with this forever, but like, this thing is not going to exist forever. I think that would do a lot of good. That would do a lot of good in a couple ways. One way is we get to enjoy the broken thing, and the broken thing is fun, right? Reason 2, when the broken thing is no longer fun and is obnoxious, we know inherently that we're not going to be dealing with it forever, so we don't have to be such, like, don't feel like we have to act like jerks to get our way and, like, throw our toys out of the pram. But also it does give us a heads up for how we want to manage our collection, because I do see a very relevant,
Thank you.
as a very relevant chatter is saying in our chat, though, a third thing where it's good for is just sort of like managing our collection. So as HS Adiyogi points out in our chat, they did a switcheroo. There's no refund, right? And since there's no refund, like, if you crafted the Ceaseless Expanse purely to play Holy Wrath Paladin, I know it's a good card, and I know I'm going to be able to use it later, and it won't be banned forever, and it's not a big deal. But I crafted it specifically to play Holy Wrath Paladin day 1. I'm a whale. Eventually, I'm going to own all the cards anyway. If I was free to play, I would expect some sort of compensation because this feels bad. I think that is one sort of blemish here. I think broad strokes, this is awesome. I queued up 2 games of Wild tonight, post Ceaseless Expanse ban. They were both times I was, extra large, Reno Double Blood, 1 Unholy Rune DK. and I won both of those games. That was not a deck that was remotely playable before the Holy Wrath, but kerfuffle. So it's the right meta news. It's the right meta move. It's just was it perfect? Because I see a lot of people who are saying, well, like why do they have to ban the Expanse? Why don't they just do something temporarily to Holy Wrath so that we can play the cool neutral card and other like I see plenty of legitimate arguments for why it's not perfect. I think this is a good move though. What do you think, Sheep?
I completely agree, especially because we essentially got a Band-Aid here, right? Like we got to play with the funny, the Ceaseless Expanse. Like there's no calm saying that it's not like permanent, but like really, it's not permanent. Like they've done 10 bans before.
Like yeah.
So what the end nerf is going to be, who knows, right? Like I have to imagine that there will be a nerf that will bring the Ceaseless Expanse back in. That's how things like this have happened in the past. Because if they just brought it back in after a little while anyway, then it would be broken again. Then nothing would be fixed. They were just fixing the things. And I, for one, really appreciate being able to play with the funny. Like I was playing that, like I said, Highlander Holy Wrath Paladin. Like, it was not a great deck, but it was fun. Like, it was playable.
Stats say that was one of the better decks in the format. Lower play rate. So the Holy Wrath play rate was anywhere between 20 and 25% of the format. That's crazy. That's wild. Great. That's crazy, right? But it was weaker to aggro, which like again the decks got more refined and you started seeing like more Eridar Brutes, which look like absolute monsters in aggro. The people got the right mix of removal tools and tutoring. It was getting better into aggro, but the best version that was both good into aggro and still consistent doing the combo was the Holy Wrath version, and that version looked like it was possibly the best deck in the format.
Whoa.
Possibly. Yeah. Whoa.
And I stumbled upon that just going like, hey, the Holy Wrath thing is kind of fun, but like,
I want yellow cards.
I want yellow cards. I want to make it like funnier. So I made it Highlander.
Did you have Kill Jaden in there?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you chicken.
I didn't make it that funny. I didn't think about it. It didn't cross my mind.
It's actually a good card. You're probably
no, I bet it'd be like straight up usable.
Fine. Yeah.
Oh no, my mage opponent has ice block after ice block.
Spirit of the Badlands.
I could just play Kill Jaden.
Spirit of the Badlands.
Spirit of the Badlands is great.
Plus Kill Jaden, like, that'd be so cool.
I'm going to take the Holy Wrath combo out and just like do Kill Jaden.
We'll do Horseman again, whatever. But like, there's parts for there's pieces for greed. There's wiggle room there. It's a pile. It's a Reno pile. You can put whatever you want in the pile. Why not? Yeah.
I want to have fun with it.
It's one card.
But I did basically go for like the pivot, a like hyper draw heavy, like combo oriented, and just like threw the funny cards in, and it worked. It was fun, but was able to do that, and then now it's banned, and we can just like explore the fresh new meta. Like we basically got two new releases.
Days. Yeah, it's cool.
So I really enjoyed that, and I'm really excited to see where the meta goes now. Schmoopy, have you played at all since the Ceaseless Expanse ban, and if so, what have you seen? I asked this question in this manner because at time of recording, it's been like about 4 hours since it happened.
So I have the notes already.
And one of those hours we've been recording and setting up and all that. So it's not been a very long time since this has happened.
I'm expected to know anyway. Got it.
Of course. Yes.
One of the decks I think, which is obviously going to take a step up, which I think was doing okay under the radar, was Seedlock. It did get the new Hearthstone, which means that sort of in a I would say almost in a brain dead way. One of the things that used to make Dark Glare or Seedlock very tough to navigate is to know how much damage you could get away with taking and how many risks you could take. And so you found yourself with certain draws and decision points where it's like, well, I could cleanly use all of my mana and take an extra 5 damage and get these stats down, or I could hold back and I could say, no, I've had enough. I've pushed in enough. I'm going to be good. Right. And so Hearthstone, just healing back whatever damage you took in a turn, essentially negates all that. Now, whether or not you still run Dark Pact for the turns where you don't need, or you don't generate a lot of damage, but you do need to gain some health back, I think is going to be interesting. I think Dark Pact still serves a purpose, but the stats look like it's pretty close to cuttable. It's close. So I would think Seedlock gets a little bit better. I would think a lot of the decks that were good previously go back to being good. I would expect, Spell Damage Druid's going to be good and whatnot. But I think it's going to be kind of like one of these golden expansions, kind of like Nathria, where once you get rid of the problematic thing, cough, cough, big rogue, right? Once you get rid of the problematic thing, there's actually a lot of high-powered, cool stuff that gets added to Wild, and it's more of an addition than a subtraction. I felt like before the Null Rogue nerf, we were actually at a point where it was we had the Null Rogue nerf, and then it felt like there was a big addition to Wild. Deleting Rogue actually opened up the format. And then the MIDI set kind of closed it in a little bit. And then, Holy Wrath closed it a lot of it. But getting rid of Holy Wrath might open it up again to where it even might be even wider than, say, that golden moment that we decided we were going to delete Secret Passage. That we might see a new golden age of Wild where we've got a very cool slower mechanic. We've got some really cool value cards and like Kill Jade and Quasar's fun and neat and bad. It's really bad. I had a turn 3 lethal and I passed up on it because it was just I could go in, but I did not have the APM. It's cool, but it's bad. But it's fun. But it's toxic. And so it's going to get clipped anyway. We kind of have to. I know. We kind of have to. You will fold to aggro. You're going to play an aggro deck, and you're going to your hero's going to explode preemptively in the mulligan before you see any cards, and you'll be like, "What happened?" It's oh, you cute aggro. The computer knows. They just figured it out for you.
It was a quick game. I'm not bothered. Sometimes you lose the rock paper scissors.
I think we're gonna have this is my prediction is I think we're gonna have a great couple days until we get the real balance patch, and the real balance patch is actually gonna take some fun toys away from Wild because Standard can't have nice things, and then we're gonna be grumpy. There's oh well, this is okay, but I wish I could do so and so. Right? Quasar is going to cost $1 billion because they hate it in Standard, even though it's bad. We're just going to be stuck with just some, just being grumpy about stuff. But other than look at Seedlock, anything that was good should be good again. Just keep an eye on that. Try that out. I was actually surprised Barnes Druid wasn't better during the last meta because nobody's running any minion hate. But you know what? Barnes Druid doesn't really want bubbles on the opponent's head, so that's probably part of it. I don't know.
Very well could be. I really like how some of the archetypes got kind of our standard, here's something that you were trying to push super duper hard in Standard, but we can take just a couple of pieces. Kind of like how you mentioned with Demon Hunter, right? I doubt that we run the bad spaceship cards, but I'm sure that we run the 2 Demon Hunter specific ones because we get Russian Wind Fury and we get +1 attack. So that's worth spending 5 mana on. Okay,
Pirate
cool.
DH is so weird. Pirate DH is so weird because it is a mid-range deck. It has an aggro high roll, but for the most part it's just let me make wave after wave of 1/1 chargers and let me kill you by 1,000 cuts. And anything you can do to buff the chargers makes them a threat. And like you have so many ways to do that. I don't like Ziliax in that deck anymore, and I've gotten to discussions about it. And Impermanence is the only person who agrees with me, which I know I'm wrong then. But like it's like Post Sigil, Ziliax costs 4. South Sea Captain costs 3. Just play the South Sea Captain. It's less difficult to figure out, like, well, I have 2 locations down and I'm going to make enough people for Ziliax to get down, but I might not have the board space. Like, it's just like a freaking nightmare. It's too high maintenance. Just play South Sea Captain. Like, this is another example for me where it's like, well,
more conditional than the captain, for sure.
It's bizarre, and it feels like it's like just sitting in my hand forever, just rotting there, and I hate it. So I put South Sea Captain in there, and so like Starships, it's like, all right, it's making up a board space, which I'm not going to pretend is not a big deal, but you wake it up, and it has Rush, Wind Fury, give all your chargers +2 attack. Okay, yeah, I'll take that, sure. Like
right?
that could be good. I could see that being good. I'm not gonna lie. Like so, and if it's other Starship pieces, it could be as much as +4/+4 on attack. Do both? Is it? Do they stack?
If you run both of those, then yeah, I think it would.
If they both die, and then you get the Wind Fury on there, would they stack?
Okay, and each of those pieces are threats on the board by themselves. Like even if it's not, Rush Wind Fury, body. You don't want to let that stick. Like
I don't know. That's terrifying.
So we only take the good ones, and we only run those instead of like the bad ones too.
And now instead of a 20,
don't do it.
Now instead of a 22 card deck, we've got like a 24 card. 26 card deck.
26. Yeah.
26 ain't bad.
And that's why I run Ziliax, because
So yeah, I see some cool stuff getting added. I don't know. Could be cool.
And whenever we have even more room to explore, once the Ceaseless Expanse, now that the Ceaseless Expanse has cease to exist in our format, we'll be able to explore with the fun stuff. And then whenever we get a balance patch that brings the Ceaseless Expanse back, which you remember how we were talking about in theory crafting, still playing standard, good card. It's just all
very good card. There's a decent chance that it gets nerfed for standard reasons, and it gains 20 mana. Like there's very good reason to believe. And that was what it was really, people were memeing just like, oh yeah, they're gonna nerf Holy Wrath Paladin. They're gonna make Ceaseless Expanse cost 120 to play. Take that, nerds. I feel like we are disserviced if I don't bring this one part up. And that is like, I saw so much doomerang like start of expansion of people being like, oh man, we've got a Holy Wrath Paladin, and guys, we've got a Holy Wrath Paladin for like 2 months. I saw so much doomerang about people being like, oh no, we're not, oh man, I can't believe it, we're gonna be stuck with this. Oh man, I bet Blizzard fixes this, but they're so clueless. They'll fix it in like a month and a half. It won't even be relevant anymore. And like, I don't know about you, Sheep, but I get grumpy about that kind of thing.
I this week, I was just mentioning at the top of the show all the different, things going on this week. Man, I've been playing the game. I haven't really been keeping up with the discourse, so it didn't really bug me, but it's really just because I didn't
You were in present. You were in present for it.
No.
I saw it in my Discord. I saw it a tiny bit in our Discord, not a ton. We don't really usually have a lot of drama. I saw it a bunch in other Discords of people just sort of like throwing stuff out and being like, well, they never take care of Wild. And I don't know how you can say that anymore after
right.
the last 12 months, less than 12 months that we've had. They've taken care of Radiant Elemental and Sorcerer's Apprentice and opened the Waygate and like
Null
passage. Like how can you say they're not paying attention to wild or what wild players want or the wild meta when they've basically curated it we were lucky if we got one in a calendar year. We've gotten one curation and expansion, sometimes more. Like it's kind of nuts if you think we got 2 last expansion. Like it's kind of nuts if you think about it. It's almost like they're regularly curating the wild format, and it's not that bad.
What?
That'd be amazing.
And in this one, we didn't even have to wait for the first balance patch for like something to change. They were like, that's too much, and they just temp banned it. Like, more to your point, like, again, my thought whenever I was playing was, oh man, I want to play this and things adjacent to this, hence settling on the Highlander variant, until the first balance patch when I can't anymore.
Right.
But it didn't last that long. Like,
it didn't last that long. Which is fine. And you know what? Like,
it is. It's a sign of increased and additional support to the format. In fact, like, not only is it fine, it's encouraged. We got to play with the fun stuff. We got the fun stuff removed before it got like, too doomery, and then we'll get the fun new card back, I'm sure, soon, right? Like, cool.
And thanks to people like Ridiculous Hat, our feedback very quickly goes to the devs.
Yeah.
And the devs think about it, and the devs think about the best solution. This was like, I didn't see anybody in the community suggest like, hey, let's ban the Ceaseless Expanse. And as we've outlined, I'm not saying it's the perfect solution. This might not be the best patch they could have launched. I'm going to be honest, I don't really care that it's not perfect, because I can play XL Reno 2 Bloods and 1 Unholy DK on ladder and win a game and have a hope of winning a game without tech Wing my opponent to death. Like I think it's a good patch. It's not a perfect patch, but it's a good patch, and it's good because they heard community involvement and community pleas about how we wanted it done, even though we're a tiny community with not as much pull as we think we do, even though we're really grumpy and loud. And we got what we want. We got an adjustment. We wanted an adjustment. We got an adjustment faster than I think we thought we were going to get an adjustment. Ultimately, how do you think this gets fixed, Sheep? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
We could know, but we don't know.
We actively don't.
We actively don't know.
I think there are a number of different ways that it could be addressed. Order in the Court could be re-nerfed. That's one.
Well, rebuffed. Back to its original form. It used to draw that card.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have that because Pure Paladin was too good. Yes.
Unnerfed.
Yes.
Yes.
It's confusing. It's like a movie where like there's like a timeline and we go back in time a couple times, but they don't really tell us when we're going back in time. You just show me. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But also, yes. So that's one option. Holy Wrath could change. It could only draw the highest cost or draw a Paladin card, and thus taking the Ceaseless Expanse out of the Holy Wrath pool, as well as a whole lot of other things, which could introduce a really interesting archetype with something like that the person, I can't recall where like which Discord server I was in that someone suggested this. So I feel bad for not giving them credit here. But not my original thought. You have basically like an all neutral deck except for Shrivala and Holy Wrath.
Right.
And so you're just like, playing your whatever, I don't think it'd be a good deck, but I really think it'd be fun.
Got you. So it can deal 25, but like that's it, right?
Right. So something like that is a possibility. honestly, slowing it down, like somehow maybe Holy Wrath can't go face, and then the archetype never.
I was going to say only goes minions. The original skill in WoW, which I think Rice Bowl pointed out for me to see, was it's a damage skill that hits only undead and demons, and it's X amount of damage, and it's random. And it's and it's like an area effect, which means that like the original Holy Wrath like has like no flavor anyway, which was the point. Which I'm now that Rice Bowl made this point, and I mocked them endlessly because like that's what you want to make, but it's a good point. It actually doesn't have the flavor of Holy Wrath initially, so maybe you make it hit only demons and undead, and that way we can OTK anybody with a Jiraxis portrait or playing a Brain Masseuse because, spaghetti code. That'd be perfect. I think that's the best outcome. It's the most Blizzard outcome that we could possibly have. Is that like Holy Wrath doesn't go face unless you're dumb enough to not realize that your demon portrait is categorized as a demon. Yes.
I mean, there are some other options that would be like deeper seated that I don't think we'll see. Like Holy Wrath, whenever it draws whatever it is, the discount like modifies the damage done. Ceaseless Expanse, that wouldn't matter too much because it'd be like 60 something, but Shirvala, it would be like 0 instead of 25. I don't think they'll go that route, and it would be a much deeper programming like task.
Even more than that, something they're very careful with, which I think like we take for granted because I know about you, I only really play one card game. I dabble in others, but one of the beautiful things about Hearthstone is how simple it is, and like the wording. And there is a certain like limit to how many words they want. They do not want it to be a Yu-Gi-Oh card. No. First things first, if you've ever seen a Yu-Gi-Oh card, it's basically War and Peace on a single sheet of paper. That's the first thing you need to know. Second thing you need to know is Yu-Gi-Oh players do not read their cards. They know what their cards do. They don't read the text. Like they're like the ancients wrote this script, but I can still make fire from the stone. Right? Like it's like they're not actually parsing the language itself. Like lawyers, they're just sort of grunting and throwing their cards on the table and hoping it does what they say it does.
This picture does this thing.
Yeah, this picture does this thing. Yay. Whereas like Hearthstone's a lot closer to like this picture does this thing. Because like in some cases there's no text. There's only picture. And you're like, hey, right? So like Hearthstone cards are worded a lot more simply, which is why when you see some of like, I'm going to call them the Reddit nerfs to Ice Block are the best ones, where it's just like blocks the first instance of lethal damage, but only once per game. And like you see it written out on a card, and you're just like, yeah, that's never gonna get printed like that. Martian did that once. Like somebody suggested like a really complicated version of like this is how you would nerf Ice Block, and he like printed it out on the card, like a custom card, and posted it in his Discord to make a point. And it was just like, oh yeah, that's
tiny text.
That's super cursed. Yeah, I can't read any of that. I've got my contacts in. No, that's not the way to go. So it's got to be something simple. I think either like an order revert or a Holy Wrath rework. But I think if they are going to completely rework what Holy Wrath is, and what it does, and sort of close a chapter in Hearthstone history, which I think is okay. Like we've seen it happen with other decks. Like we don't Savage Roar the Force of Nature. Then the Force of Nature anymore. We don't do that anymore. It's okay. We had our nice things. We always have YouTube. We always have highlights. But I think that requires a further balanced discussion. And you know what? I've seen so many people complain about like Holy Wrath is a bad card, and I'll admit, I know for a fact that the community itself, when reverts were happening, what the community was asked, are we going to unnerf Order in the Court, or are we going to leave it as it is? And at the time, the the prevailing idea was that, oh yeah, we're going to leave it as it is because Holy Wrath is the only good Paladin deck right now. And I didn't agree, but I understand why they did it that way. Turns out maybe Holy Wrath is just bad card design, and so maybe we just change the card design. But I think it's an interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm. And then if they are changing Holy Wrath, then really Order in the Court could be reverted anyway. In which case, maybe we just revert Order in the Court. Like, I think it just kind of comes back to
regardless,
that.
Either way, I think we revert our Order in the Court, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'd love, because I used to play that Control Paladin, and like it lived and breathed on Order in the Court. You needed Order in the Court to always draw your Prismatic Beam and not your Cariel. And so, like, once that was no longer a guaranteed thing, I was just like, oh, this deck's a pile. I can't play it anymore. So, like, bring back Order, please. Pretty please, with sugar on top and ice cream in the middle.
Please.
Unrelated Advice with Electric Sheep City.
Well, sheep.
Meowdy.
As you know, I teach children. And as you may not know, a throwaway lesson that I used to do every year involving conspiracy theories, which I did at once as a joke, and have continued to do because it has become a public service. I am amazed by how many conspiracy theories my students believe, and that I have to try and cut my way through. But one such student who would normally believe conspiracy theories, just setting the stage for like my students in general have a somewhat tenuous perspective on reality at times. Gotcha. I have been known and have mentioned on the show before, I taught one young lady who didn't believe in space. I asked her, I was just like, honey, what do you believe in then is up there? She goes, I don't know, but I don't believe in space. So Wild doesn't have space anymore. They banned space. So sheep, if we don't believe in space, what is there?
So we go up and we see these clouds. They're such happy clouds. And then we keep on going up, and we're in the sky. And then the sky itself turns dark. Because time zones don't exist, Father. Time zones aren't real. Whenever it goes dark here, it goes dark everywhere. And so it's because the sky is what goes dark. Okay. So we keep on going up, and we find this, like, this moon. And it's made of cheese. It's just this like big old like ball of cheese.
Cheese moon.
And see, the thing is, it's not in space, so it's not like dusty and stuff like that. No, it's just delicious, and it's like somehow like aged to perfection. Cheese moon. And then here's a really wild thing. The sky lightens back up. The moon itself fades away. The moon itself disappears. That's why it's always fresh, because it's a fresh new moon every single time. And whenever people are up there, like nibbling away at it, that's why it wanes. And then whenever they add more, that's why it waxes back. See? But, you know, so the lights come back, and that means that the sun is there. And you look up in it, and your eyes hurt, and then you can't and then you so much, and then you looked at the sun.
Wiser words were never spoken, and you heard that on Born to Be Wild.
Born to be wild.
Cheese moon.
Cheese moon. I had no clue where to go with that, so I just went wherever with it.
That's what I do.
So I just started talking. You know how it goes.